You don't have a money problem. You have a psychology problem. You can recite every wealth principle from memory, and the account still stays flat, year after year, because the mental patterns running underneath your decisions decide your net worth long before any tactic does. Income does not break the patterns. Intelligence does not. Opportunity does not. The patterns absorb whatever you earn and route it back to broke. Below are the 7 psychological signatures that mark the people who will never build wealth. Read them honestly. Count how many are running you right now, because the number you land on is the actual diagnosis you came here for. The psychology that keeps people broke is a fixed set of mental patterns that prioritize emotional comfort over financial mechanics. Income passes through. The patterns absorb it. The compounding never starts. That is the entire game. The patterns are not new. They are not subtle. They are running on most of the people you know. They are likely running on you. Here they are. Signature number 1. You treat money as moral instead of mechanical. You believe rich people are different. Greedy, lucky, compromised. You catch yourself thinking the universe rewards good people, and the money will arrive when you finally deserve it. You judge people with wealth quietly, even when you say you want to be them. You scroll past the successful entrepreneur and feel something tighten in your chest. You tell yourself it is principles. It is not. It is protection. As long as you can frame money as something morally suspect, you never have to explain why you do not have it. The morality is a story that hides the mechanics. Wealth does not care if you are good. Wealth does not care if you are kind. Wealth is a system that responds to inputs. You feed it leverage and discipline, it compounds. You feed it morality and resentment, it disappears. The people who actually build wealth demoralized money a long time ago. They stopped asking if money was clean. They started asking how it moves. Signature number 2. You confuse comfort with safety. You think the stable job is the safe move. You think the predictable paycheck is the cautious choice. You think the apartment you can afford is the responsible one. None of it is safety. All of it is comfort. Safety is having 3 income streams when one disappears. Safety is owning an asset that pays you whether you show up or not. Safety is optionality you have built over years of inconvenience. Comfort is the absence of immediate discomfort. The two feel identical from the inside. They produce opposite outcomes from the outside. The people who never build wealth choose comfort every time the choice appears, then call it being responsible. The people who actually build wealth choose discomfort early, knowing the comfort it eventually produces is the only kind that lasts. Think back to the last time you avoided a financial risk. The new venture you did not start. The investment you did not make. The conversation with your boss you did not initiate. You called it cautious. It was not. It was preference for the feeling you already had. Every season of comfort you accept now is borrowed from the safety you were supposed to build. Signature number 3. You buy experiences to validate your identity instead of building one. The festival ticket, the boutique gym membership, the premium coffee from the place with the right aesthetic, the branded jacket, the weekend trip that ends up on the camera roll for 2 weeks. You tell yourself, these are experiences. You tell yourself you are investing in memories. You are paying for proof that you belong to a tier you have not actually earned. Every purchase quietly admits the identity is not real yet. The people who actually build wealth stopped buying tier verification. They buy ownership. They buy time back. They buy infrastructure. They let the identity emerge from what they own, not what they spent. Pause for a second, because recognizing the signature is not the work. Rewiring it is, and rewiring takes more than a YouTube video. It takes an environment that holds you accountable to the new patterns until they replace the old ones. That is what we built inside the 1% Club at school.com/VYBO. Real frameworks, real accountability, real people executing the rewiring instead of just diagnosing themselves. The link is in the description. 4 signatures left. Signature number 4. You avoid awkward financial conversations. The salary negotiation you accepted without asking. The raise you have rehearsed in your head for 14 months but never asked for. The split bill where you let the friends decide because you did not want to seem cheap. The contractor quote you accepted without pushing back. The invoice client who is 60 days late and you have not followed up because it feels uncomfortable. The fees you never asked the advisor about. The deposit you never requested up front. Each of these is a financial transaction you let happen to you because the conversation felt awkward. The awkwardness is not personality. The awkwardness is identity. Specifically, the identity of someone who quietly believes they do not deserve to advocate for themselves financially. The people who build wealth normalized the awkwardness years ago. They ask, they negotiate, they follow up, they send the firm email, they request the deposit. Not because they are confrontational, because they understand that one uncomfortable conversation today saves a year of resentment later. The cost of avoiding it is paid out of the only finite resource you have, your future. Signature number 5. You mistake activity for progress. You read every personal finance book and never open a brokerage account. You watch every wealth video and never run a single sales call. You spend 3 Saturdays building a perfect budget that saves you $40 a month. Meanwhile, the income line ignored could double in a quarter if you actually executed. You research the niche for 6 months and never publish. You optimize the small thing because optimizing the big thing requires execution, and execution carries the risk of failing publicly. Activity feels productive. Activity is not productive. Output is. Activity is what people do when they want to feel like they are working without taking the real risk of the work. It is a sedative. The hours add up, the bookshelves fill up, the notebook gets thicker, and the bank account stays the same shape because the bank account responds to output, not effort. Picture 2 people watching the same video on building a coaching business. One closes the laptop and signs up the first client by Friday at half price just to start the loop. The other downloads the workbook, joins 3 more communities, watches 40 more videos. 6 months later, they are in the same place with better notes and the same income, same input. Different output, different decade. The people who actually build wealth figured this out painfully early. They publish ugly. They launch broken. They send the proposal half-ready. They post the content nobody asked for. They take the action that activity addicts spend 10 years preparing for. Every hour you spend optimizing the wrong line is an hour borrowed from the line that would actually change your life. You do not need more information. You need to execute on the information you already have. And you already have enough. Stop and count. Right now, of the 5 signatures so far, how many are running underneath your last 12 months? 1, 3, all 5? This is the part most people skip past. They watch the video, they nod at the signatures, they tell themselves they will think about it. And next week, the same patterns are still running. Because diagnosis without rewiring is just entertainment for your psychology. The signatures do not stop because you see them. They stop because you replace them with harder patterns, with better defaults, with identity instructions that override the old ones. 2 signatures left. They are the heaviest of the 7. Signature number 6. You time discount your future self into a stranger. The version of you in 5 years. The version of you at 65. The version of you who has to pay off the debt you are racking up this week. The version of you who has to retire on whatever you are saving right now. The version of you who lives inside the body you fed today. That person does not feel real to you. They feel like a problem you can hand off to someone else, so you let today's version make every financial decision while next decade's version pays the bill. This is the quiet betrayal that destroys more wealth than any market crash ever has. Not because the math is hard, because the imagination is broken. You cannot feel the person you are not yet, so you spend their money. You skip their workouts. You delay their savings. You make them inherit the consequences of your present tense comfort. The people who actually build wealth made their future self their most important client. They write to that person. They negotiate on behalf of that person. They refuse to spend that person's money. Every dollar that leaves their hand gets 2 votes. The version of them today and the version of them 10 years from now. And when the 2 disagree, the future self wins. Because the future self is the one who has to live with the result. The present self just had to feel something for a minute. Signature number 7. The foundation underneath every other signature. You treat money as something that happens to you instead of something built by you. The paycheck arrives. The bill arrives. The raise either happens or it does not. The economy shifts. The taxes change. The unexpected expense lands. You react. You adapt. You complain. You wait for the next thing to happen so you can react again. Your relationship to money is passive. You receive. You spend. You hope. You blame whatever shows up on what someone else decided. The boss, the economy, the system, the market, the luck, the timing, the injustice. Other people made all the moves. You just live in the residue. This is the foundation under every other signature. Because the moment you treat money as something that happens to you, every other signature follows automatically. The moralizing follows. Because if money is happening to you, you have to justify why it is happening to other people. The comfort as safety follows. Because if you cannot build, all you can do is shelter. The identity buying follows. Because if you cannot earn the tier, you have to perform the tier. The conversation avoidance follows. Because asking for more implies you have agency, and agency is exactly what you have given up. The activity addiction follows. Because reading and researching feels like preparation for a future you might one day act in. The future self-discounting follows. Because if you do not believe you can build, you also do not believe you can save anyone. The people who actually build wealth flipped the relationship a long time ago. Money does not happen to them. They happen to money. They build the offer. They send the email. They name the price. They open the account. They negotiate the rate. They make the call. They decide the percentage. They make the moves. The world responds. Then they make more moves. The world keeps responding. That is the entire game. And it starts with one decision. You stop being someone money happens to. You start being someone who makes money happen. Now count how many of the 7 are running you right now. Be honest. The number matters more than you think. Because the signatures compound. Each one reinforces the others. Each one strengthens the neural pathways that vote against your wealth every time a decision lands in front of you. And the longer they run, the harder they are to interrupt. A person with 1 signature can outgrow it in a season. A person with 3 is rewriting an identity. A person with 5 or more is rebuilding from the foundation up. Most adults who have been reading the wrong books for 20 years have all 7, in some form, on most days. The patterns are not weaknesses, they are operating systems. They run quietly underneath every decision, every dollar, every conversation. They never announce themselves. They just produce the result, year after year, the empty account, the unfinished business, the unsigned offer, the unmade ask. The same conversations with the same people earning the same income, wondering why nothing changes. The cost of leaving them on default is not financial. It is identity. By the time you are 50, the version of you who tolerated these signatures for 30 years has become the version of you. There is no clean version waiting underneath. There is just the accumulation. And the accumulation is the person who never built wealth. Not because they could not have, because they never broke the pattern. You already know which signatures are running you. You felt at least 3 of them while you were watching, maybe 4, maybe 5. The recognition is not the breakthrough. The recognition is just the start. The breakthrough is the willingness to admit which patterns you have been performing as personality when they were actually the architecture of staying broke. The signatures are not who you are. The signatures are who you keep choosing to be every time the choice appears. And the choice appears every day, sometimes 100 times a day. Each time a dollar leaves your hand. Each time a conversation feels uncomfortable. Each time a goal feels too specific to commit to. Each time the future version of you needs an advocate and nobody shows up. The question that has been waiting on you is not whether you saw the signatures. You saw them. The question is whether you are the kind of person who acts on what they see, or the kind who keeps watching, keeps recognizing, keeps nodding, and keeps running the same architecture into the same year. The information is no longer the bottleneck. You are. And the only way out of the architecture is through it. 1 signature interrupted today. 1 pattern replaced this week. 1 uncomfortable conversation had this month. That is how the broke version of you finally stops winning. Next, watch the 22 mindsets that quietly keep you broke. They are the upstream patterns these 7 signatures all run from. If you saw yourself in 3 or more of these signatures, the next video is where you find out why. Recognize the signatures, interrupt the architecture, replace the defaults, then watch what changes when the patterns underneath your decisions stop voting against you. That is the only path. Everything else is performance. The next video is below. Open it now if you mean it.